by itself. Where did that stories come from? Now you can say, well, it was taken from the Old Testament, or was taken from Talmudic sources or whatever, right? But why is it the case then that the Islamic narrative actually corrects those things on things which we've only discovered recently? I'll give you an example. One very simple and uncontroversial example. That in the Quran it says, when it's Joseph, who the great-grandchild of Abraham, when he discusses it with when he talks with the supreme leader of Egypt, he calls him Malik. But in Genesis, Joseph calls him Pharaoh. But after the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, only recently, 300-400 years ago, we have been able to realize that actually there was the Hiscox dynasty at that time, and it's a particular dynasty in the time of Joseph. It was impossible that would have been in the New Kingdom. Therefore, there was kings and not pharaohs. So the Quran states something, the Bible states something else. The Quran is correcting the Bible. In fact, there's some things in the Quran that are mentioned that are so easy, a prima facie reading, that the Bible has no mention of. Pharaoh says, "Anna rabbukumul a'la." Pharaoh of Moses. He says, "Anna rabbukumul a'la." I am your Lord. The Bible never states that that Pharaoh said that. But we know now, you don't need to be an Egyptologist to know that this is what they were saying. And in fact, not only that, it's indicated in the Quranic narrative that you have other gods that were worshipped aside Pharaoh. وقال موسى وقالوا أتذر موسى وقومه ليفسدوا في الأرض ويذرك وآلهتك, that you leave you and your gods, meaning you have other gods that you worship. We know they believed in Ra and Isis and Horus and all these other gods. That's not mentioned in the Old Testament. A very straightforward, basic thing. You don't need to be, once again, I don't need to get you sources. We know that is the case. So these are just examples of where things are mentioned in history. تلك من أنباء الغيب, that these are things that are historical things. ما كنت تعلمها أنت ولا قومك. You didn't know it, and your people didn't know. How did you know? How did it come? Where did it come from? Where did this illiterate man in the desert, get information about previous nations where the hieroglyphic was a dead language, and that we needed the Rosetta Stone to uncode it? Yeah. You see the point?
Yeah, true. But don't you think it has something to do with the fact that they were written 600 years apart? Don't you think the time could explain why more things were known in the Quran than the Bible?
No, because as I say, the hieroglyphic language, right, which is where, for example, talk about Egyptology, right?
Yeah.
That was inaccessible to those people. Who's inaccessible?
Which people?
The Arabs. You'd have to go to Egypt. You'd have to now excavate things. By the way, there are things that need to be excavated. Like, for example, I'll give you one example, right? Now,
good example.
I'll tell you. I know what you're thinking.
Okay. Yeah.
I know what you're thinking, brother.
Tell me.
Where Ramses II is usually he is seen as the pharaoh of the Bible, right? And for good reason. You know why? Because Merenptah, who was his successor, there's something in Egyptology called a stela. Now, a stela is a rock. In that rock, they write down the history. It's extra biblical information. In the 11th line of the Merenptah stele, it's mentioned the children of Israel. So who came and we expelled the children of Israel? This is not in the Quran, not in the Bible. This is a rock, which is now consensus among Egyptologists that this is a true rock. Before Merenptah was Ramses II, who, I don't know, he reigned for 91 years. Now, so that's why it's seen as he is the pharaoh, and also because he was in the New Kingdom and all that kind of stuff. Now, the Quran states, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. We will now preserve your body so that you can be, for those who come after you, a sign, like you. You wanted evidence, you say, okay, fine, this is a sign. Now, فَالْيَوْمَ نُنَجِّيكَ بِبَدَنِكَ, with your body, we will preserve your body, لِتَكُونَ لِمَنْ خَلْفَكَ آيَةً. When did they discover the body of Ramses II? So recently, I think in the last, 100 years, yeah? In fact, it was such a thing. I'm from Egypt, actually. Originally, I'm from Egyptian, yeah? And I don't know if you know this, but at that time it was a Sadat. I think must have been in the 70s, right? And he because he was a nationalist or whatever, he gave this Ramses II, he sent him to France, museum in France, and he gave him a ceremonial leaving. Like the cars were there and all this kind of, because he wanted to give respect to this Ramses II, even though he's the pharaoh of the Quran, right? The antagonist, the major antagonist of the Quran. Give him a ceremonial leave. Anyway, the point is that this is something that is okay. It's not a matter of could have been known within the 600 years because it's something that happened after 600 years.
Yeah, true.
Do you see the point?
Now my story is different. Another one.
Oh, you got another one?
It's the cave story.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The spider. No.
Huh? It's
No,
the
carry on.
cave. Yes, it's the cave people. By the way, this story was just known by the religious Jewish in the Prophet times, and it's old, ancient story, not in the time of Prophet or 100, 200 years. It's very old, and only the Jewish high-level religious know this story. So some of the people, which is not non-Muslim, told the Jewish, as you know the history and you have your book and you know a lot of stories, give us one specific and have evidence story. We can ask Prophet Muhammad if he know it or not. But we want story. Nobody in the world know it. They told them, the Jewish, let's ask them about the cave people. Ask them two questions. How much the number of them and how many years they are asleep. You know the cave story? They sleep for 300 something years. This is one of the evidences from Allah, but this long time ago. So they go to Prophet Muhammad and they ask him, there is cave story, there is good people there, sleep for few years. How much these years? How much their numbers? Now, Prophet Muhammad don't know. Told them, okay, I will let you know. I will let you know tomorrow. And this, by the way, was something Allah learned Prophet Muhammad. That's, you cannot guarantee tomorrow I'll give you this information. So Allah didn't send him the reply after one day, after many days. Now, back to the Jewish, they told them the answers are 309 years. The second answer that the Jewish themselves, they don't know the number of the cave people. They have 3 stories on them. يقولون 43 كلب. 3 and have the fourth one is the dog. ويقولون 5 سادسهم كلبهم. And the second story that they are 5 and their 6 is the dog. And the main one or the most probably one is 7 and the 8 is their dog. So even the Jewish, 7 people and the dog is the 8. Because the story was about people with dog. So they have 3 stories. The most probably one is 7 and the 8 is dog. So they back to Prophet Muhammad, and then after some time, Jibreel give him the information. So the information, now if Prophet Muhammad said 4 and the dog 5, it's false. If he said second one, it's false. If he mentioned third one, it's probably the right one, but if he know how they know, he must mention the 3 one. And then the answer come in Quran. Still now we can read it every one Friday. It was mentioned, يقولون, they said, يعني the stories as I said 3 رابعهم كلبهم أو 5 سادسهم كلبهم رجما بالغيب, like you know, like stop point to show that the third one is the most probably one. Then they mention لبثوا في كهفهم 300 سنين وازدادوا 9, which means 309. Then when those people take the answer to Jewish, they told him this is a prophet. This answer nobody know it at all. And another miracle happened that.
بس خليها let her react to it because it's
309. Just this one. This
okay, go ahead.
Another miracle. That's ويقولون لبثوا فيها 300 سنين وازدادوا 9. They mention in their books 300 sun years, but the Quran reply 309. If you take it 300, it's the sun years. If you take it 309, it's the moon year. Sorry, bro. Okay.
Yeah, so we were talking about some evidences.
Yeah.
So we've provided you with some of them.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're sufficient?
No.
Not yet?
No, they're like good evidence, but
Okay.
you
need more time?
Yeah, I need more time, or I need to see things, like not just hear things.
That's what?
Well, no, I don't mean to see a miracle, but like I need to like see how like people can live a great life, the great Islamic life. Like I'm sure it exists, but like
Well, the thing is, let me tell you something, right? I think that standard is not a great standard. Let me tell you why. Even if people don't live a great Islamic life, what it should be the pursuit of truth. Now, the truth of the matter is, when you actually do live with truth and you live your purpose, that is more likely, and I think now cognitive psychology has kind of shown this, right? When you live your purpose and you have real meaning, that is more likely to keep away depression from your life, anxiety, depression, that kind of thing. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, and you come here because there's cameras.
No.
Okay. So, the Prophet stated, right? He stated that عَجَبًا لِأَمْرِ الْمُؤْمِنِ, and that wondrous is the affair of the believer. إِنَّ أَمْرَهُ كُلَّهُ لَهُ خَيْرٌ, that all of his affair is good. وَلَيْسَ ذَاكَ لِأَحَدٍ إِلَّا لِلْمُؤْمِنِ, and this is not the case for anyone except for the believer. إِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ سَرَّاء شَكَرَ, if good things happen to him, he's thankful. وَإِنْ أَصَابَتْهُ ضَرَّاء صَبَرَ وَشَكَرَ, if bad things happen to him, he's thankful and he's patient. Islam doesn't give you, I can't, sell a lie to you or whatever. Islam doesn't say that when you become Muslim, everything's going to be okay. In fact, the Quran says the opposite. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ وَنَقْصٍ مِنَ الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَنفُسِ وَالثَّمَرَاتِ فَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. It says that we will actually test you. When they first became Muslim, it said we will test you with something of hunger, fear and hunger, and depreciation of assets, and so on. Yeah, and so give glad tidings to those who are patient. الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إن لله وإنا إليه راجعون. If bad things happen to them, they say we belong to God and we will return to Him. So it's what it is that when you embrace Islam, you have a mentality now. You have a new psychological mentality, which is that there's a greater purpose for everything. Pain becomes meaningful. Right now, as it stands, if you don't have a greater purpose for something, you can easily plunge into an existential type of nihilism. Everything meaningless, pain is irrelevant, whatever. I don't even know how to make sense of it. From the Islamic paradigm, it's not that pain will dissipate, but it's the fact that pain will become meaningful. Pain becomes meaningful, and that makes you more patient. And so in many ways, that's what we can provide, or what Allah provides, what Islam provides. It's
how is that different from other religions? Like other religions makes your pain meaningful as well.
Right, the major difference.
Look, I'm being manhandled. No one's got a right to touch me.
Yeah, don't touch him. Don't touch him, please. Yeah. Bro, please stop touching him. Yeah. It's different from other religions in so much as Islam will give you the ability not to have cognitive dissonance. In psychology, the idea of cognitive dissonance is when you have one set of beliefs and your rationalizations are different. If you're a Christian, your rationality will eventually catch up to your beliefs, because you're going to say the Father is Almighty, the Son is Almighty, and the Holy Spirit is Almighty, but there are not three Almighties but one, which is exactly what their creed say. But then you're going to say to yourself, I don't agree with this. In your mind, you will struggle with this as a matter of fact. Not only that, but you will not be able to reconcile it. Now, Islam, so in order for this to be really meaningful, you need to have a metaphysical worldview which is self-consistent. Is self-consistent, and which actually doesn't create more problems in the case of, for example, cognitive dissonance. That's what we say. Islam, because it's self-consistent, and the premise of it is extremely basic, which is to submit your will and to worship one God. That's what we're saying. The higher power, the creator of the universe, the all-knowing one, the all-wise one, we just follow the wisdom of God. And if we do so perfectly, then pain becomes meaningful, then the afterlife, then on the sick bed, when we're about to die and we're about, we have something to look forward to, that becomes a meaningful expression. If something happens, someone gets cancer, which all these things you can't control. All of this stuff is tests. It's a test. Because Allah says in the Quran, we have created life and death as a test. لِنَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. So we could teach you or could test you who of you are the best in deeds. وَبَلَوْنَاهُمْ بِالْحَسَنَاتِ وَالسَّيِّئَاتِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجَعُونَ. We have tested them with good things and bad things so they can come back to us. So with tests, there's always a reason. Now, when you don't have a reason, it's not just that you'll get depression, which is 100% you will get it. You'll be depressed, you'll be anxious, you don't know what's happening, but it's that depression will be meaningless. And so what we're saying is that this is the Islamic good life. Not that, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, of course, I don't mean that. I mean a life that I can see people's ambitions and meanings and like of course every life's not going to be
of course
straight like that. I don't mean like
But
that.
can you see where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah.
So having said that, is there any other things that you want?
Not right now. I haven't got. I have got more questions, but I can't really think about them now.
Yeah.
But I'll come back and answer.
Right. So, are you comfortable? What is stopping you from becoming Muslim right now?
I don't think I've got sufficient information, to be honest.
All right. Let's do it this then. How about this? Yeah, so go home today, start reading the Quran, and start reading a brief explanation of the Prophet's life. And you can even read like Karen Armstrong's book. She's got a good kind of book on the Prophet Muhammad.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've seen her. Her name's Karen Armstrong. She has something about the Prophet, or if not, the sealed nectar, which I think is my recommendation to you. Yeah, just read something about the Prophet's life, read the Quran, and ask yourself one question: is this the truth? And if it is, then not embracing it also has its consequences, eschatological consequences in the afterlife, because you've been presented with it. We believe that those who disbelieve after they've been, has its consequences.
Yeah, true. But how does someone know that they have got enough? Like, how do they know that they've been presented with enough information?
Yeah, you have been. Let me tell you why. Because we believe that every human being has been born with a fitra, or the innate disposition to believe in God, right? And so if I tell you, look, the purpose of life is to worship God, and this is the meta-narrative of all the prophets, right? Then really instinctively, you should have an inclination to that. It's not really even, it's ultra rational. It should be, okay, yeah, I believe in the Creator and I have a connection to that Creator. So long as what I'm saying does not contradict your instinct, it should be something which is second nature, something you accept. But so in a sense, that's why the Quran says, وَمَا كُنَّا مُعَذِّبِينَ حَتَّى نَبْعَثَ رَسُولًا. We won't punish anyone except when we send them a messenger. But you do have a responsibility now, I have to be honest with you, because you have been sent, or you have been given enough, I believe, of the message to be able to make an
True,
informed
but what if I don't believe anything you've just told me? I'm not saying I don't.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, in that case, it depends now. If you go home and say, forget this, we believe, and I have to be completely honest with you, right? There's a threat of eternal damnation, fire. That's the truth. And if you agree with it, we believe there's eternal salvation in heaven. We are like Christians, believe heaven and hell, right? And I'm not saying that, this is what we believe.
Yeah.
So look, Sophie, look into it in your own time, yeah? The Quran and the Sirah, which is it's called the Sirah, the biography of the Prophet, yeah? And make your own decision in your own time. And we're here, if I'm not here, then someone else will be here, And if you need anything, you can message me or you can email me as well, yeah?
Alright, I will.
Have you got any other questions?
No.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, yeah?
Yeah, you too.
If you need anything else, let us know.
Thank you.
Okay?
I will.
Thank you very much, yeah? Chill out. That's it, my mic's away. Let's go and pray.